Shut up and sit down.
Hey everyone, this is the Ken Frederick Podcast, episode number 123, Ready Player One spoiler review. We just saw the Ready Player One movie. We're going to talk about it, spoil it, and all that stuff. If you happen to find us on the internet randomly, you can find our website at kfpodcast.com. We're on Facebook at KF Podcast, Twitter at Ken Fred Podcast, Instagram and YouTube at Ken Frederick Podcast, and we're also on SoundCloud, where we have a weekly broadcast of drivel and randomness and all kinds of fun stuff.
A potpourri of uselessness.
Yes, exactly. So thank you for listening. We're going to break down the movie. There's going to be spoilers, so that was your warning. And Justin, make it official.
Spoiler!
There you go.
In case you're wondering, that wasn't Ken.
No.
That was Brock. Ken is not here because he's doing things. So we have myself, Don. We got Lance.
Hey.
And we got guest starring first ever on the podcast, my son, Logan.
Hello.
And we have live from South Carolina, right?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. The cheese.
Somewhere south of the Mason-Dixon.
Sitting in the back of the room, we do have Lady Diana.
Hi.
She's saying hi. She's just hanging out in the back, but there we go. So, we're in what? Ready Player One spoiler mode, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You should be looking at a reaction video that we have out there.
Link in the description.
Link in the description.
Right there.
There it is.
Right over there.
And you got, I'd say let's start probably with Lance. This is a big movie for him and Justin. We'll start with these two again.
Yeah, I mean, Justin and I read the books, read the audiobook, or listened to the audiobooks, and this was a movie I was jazzed for probably almost as much as Infinity.
Jazzed.
Yeah.
Jazz.
Yes, jazz hands. Where we went, spoiler reviews or
Just right into it.
Right
There is
into it.
no more
All right.
We
spoiler.
gave the disclaimer already.
We gave
All
the
right.
Yeah,
disclaimer.
about a lunchtime.
So, yeah, if you actually plan to go to this movie thinking that it's the book, just stop. Just stop before you get to the theater because you're going to end up being disappointed.
I agree.
There's tons of Easter egg bait in there. The story is a little different, but it's still very good. I mean, the whole idea and some of the overall themes of like Parzival and Artemis, how they get together, some of the overall themes about the internet and how the Oasis sort of has that parallel. It's really good, and it's definitely worth at least a single watch, probably a double if you want to catch all the Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that, yeah.
Probably a home viewing so you can freeze frame.
Yes.
And everything.
Yeah. Definitely way more to keep your eyes focused on
Yeah.
going on, especially in those huge scenes.
Yeah, there's so
Yeah.
much stuff.
I thought I saw Spawn at 1 minute.
He was
He
there.
did-
Yeah,
he was
you did
there.
Yeah,
see
he
Spawn.
did, he did.
And I'm like, well, that was it. He was so quick, you know.
I saw Gandalf in one scene.
Yeah. So let's go to you, Logan. What do you think about this movie? What was your favorite part of this movie?
I mean, not reading the book, it was just a really good, like, solid action movie. I enjoyed it a lot. The final battle scene in it was my favorite part, and the action was great. The visual effects in it were really good, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, Logan and I have been watching at nights. We've been watching Gundam Wing on Hulu.
Okay.
That was one of my favorite Gundams.
Yeah.
So when a Gundam showed up in here,
He got all
I
excited.
got really excited. I was like, "Oh shit!" You know, there you go. That's cool. It wasn't one from Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, but it was the original Mobile Suit
Right.
Gundam,
Yeah, I still thought it was really cool.
which was
though.
cool. They had the laser sword and all that. That was a really neat scene. Fighting
Yes.
the Mecha Godzilla. It was really
It
good.
was cool.
Justin, you want to talk a little bit?
Yeah, you just mentioned Mechagodzilla. That was a big moment in the book, and I can't believe they actually got him for the movie.
So Mecha Godzilla is in the book.
I was a little disappointed that it wasn't like the real Mechagodzilla. It was like their interpretation.
Yeah, 'cause he-
I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised
Yeah,
if
but
that... Go ahead.
they named him too, though. So it's I'm counting it.
Well, I'm wondering if that's what the modern Mechagodzilla
That's what I was
looks
going to
like.
say. Yeah, I bet
Yeah.
you that's not going to be far from what that's going to end up being.
That he'll look like that in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Because they may have gotten some inside information.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what he's going to look
He
like.
looked cool.
He did.
He did.
I
Yeah.
thought he looked really
Because
cool.
it was licensed from what is it, Doto?
Yeah.
Some
Yeah, if you watch through the credits, you'll see all the thank yous and copyright and trademark information for all this stuff.
McFarlane.
It was a long list.
But granted, it would have been it's a shorter list than it would have been if you would have gone like scene for scene with the book.
Oh yeah,
There's
yeah,
just
the
no
book
way that's
would've-
possible.
No,
It would have been insane.
They couldn't afford to do it.
no, just the royalties would have bankrupted the thing.
Yeah.
So what else you like about it, Justin?
So, Brock mentioned during our little reaction video about the pacing, and I have to agree. I thought the pacing was really good. It really snapped along. To me, it didn't feel like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it was kind of a roller coaster ride. I'm not going to sit up here and say that this is a perfect movie. There were some things that I didn't really necessarily like, but what I found throughout the movie is every time there was something that I thought, oh man, I wish they hadn't done that, the very next scene or the very next line brought me right back into just a big grin on my face. So I didn't have time to think about the things I didn't like. But there were a couple things. I made a couple lists.
Hey,
I didn't
Justin.
like. Quit grinning.
Wait, listen.
Hold on.
Hold on a minute.
You couldn't hear me. Is there a scene? Give me an example of what you mean of something that you didn't like, but then they brought you right back. Give me an example. Like, is there a main thing there that you're talking about?
No, not really. It's just
Give me something you didn't like.
Well, I didn't like the change that they made for IROC.
Okay, I totally agree with that.
But as the movie went on, I liked the character from the movie, but that was not IROC from the book.
Correct.
And
Why?
so that was one of the things that again, I didn't like it, but I ended up being okay with it.
So for those of you who don't know, IROC in the book is basically, well, in the book they're all kids. They all go to school.
Okay.
Except for Artemis.
Artemis.
So IROC is this kid who hangs out with H and Parzival in their virtual world, and he's just this sort of hanger-on douchebag sort of kid who actually ends up selling out Parzival to actually reveal his identity.
Okay.
But in the movie, they turned him into like this sort of bounty hunter type of guy.
He was like
he was he was almost kind of a badass, like a bumbling badass.
And
still T.J. Miller,
but T.J. Miller actually sold it. I mean, he was a badass, but he was like a cynical badass.
Well,
exactly.
Let me ask you a question. Is that how you pictured? Because I only read like the first 5 chapters of this book. I didn't get around to it, but that's not how I pictured H to look like. Is that how he was described, as a big, like, warthog, World of Warcraft kind of cyborg creature?
Not a cyborg type of creature, but he's actually a larger guy. Yeah.
Okay. And was he a girl in the?
Yeah, because there's a whole theme about how his mom or her mom, when she used to actually go to work in the Oasis, and like IT jobs were all done through the Oasis.
Yeah.
She was an African American.
Okay.
And she found that when she actually made her avatar a Caucasian male, that they treated her differently. So that's one of the things that H learned from her mom, and that's what she actually brought forward.
Because he wasn't really a Caucasian male; he was an orc.
Right. and actually in the book, she H herself actually lives in it wasn't a postal van, but it was a mobile home that she would actually drive from city to city. So that's how IOI never found her, because she was just always moving.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, all right, he's still going.
Just one more thing. The other thing that I was, and I understand they had to condense things for the movie. I wasn't really thrilled with the fact that they all knew each other. They were kind of almost like Sho and Daito and H and Parzival were already kind of buddies, and conveniently they were all in Columbus all together.
Yeah, that's what I said to Lance right after the movie ended.
And let's get this right. It's Shoto, not Show.
I know.
Okay. So yeah, they did that for convenience, that they were all sort of a block away from each other.
Yeah,
right.
Not near each other.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brock, what about you?
That annoyed me too. The one thing, everyone's been positive. There's one thing that really annoyed me about this movie, and it was the Chucky scene where they had to drop an F-bomb.
Okay.
Because this is a movie you could take your kids to,
Except for that one.
except for that, and like it was unnecessary.
And that's a big YouTube thing going around. It's the effing Chucky thing.
Yeah.
Where, like, little kids are swearing, saying that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like a video of a little
boy,
English
this movie's been
girl,
out a day.
Yeah, doing that, going effing Chucky, effing. Chucky's like a big prank your kids thing, and kids say that. So I think that's where
That's where that
popped
came
in
from.
you know.
All right, that makes sense then.
But you didn't have to say it.
No.
They could have like made him about to say it and cut away.
Yeah.
Of course, Alex turned to me and was like, "Oh, heard that one." I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, you know.
It's one of those things. PG-13, they're allowed one. They took it.
Yeah.
And the whole when they were like grinding on each other and his groin was
Yeah.
getting hot, I was like, I got a little nervous. Like, okay,
But they brought it back later.
Where's
in the
this
movie.
going?
Yeah,
The one thing I disliked is I sort of didn't like how they portrayed Sorrento. Physically, as a character, I had a different view of him, but also the fact that like he didn't actually take the shot when he had the chance after he opened up the mail van.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because in the book, he's evil through and through.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a corporate stooge.
Was this Avatar supposed to be Clark Kent?
No.
It looked like a Hulk. It looked like a
Yeah.
corporate Hulk. Kinda.
What was it supposed to? Because he had like the little
He
Superman.
had the
Yeah.
Superman
hanging
curl.
down.
You're right. And we
Oh, no.
lost Justin.
There he goes again.
But yeah.
And we're back. Go ahead. So we were talking about him. What else did you what did you think?
I thought
Anything
the character design was really well done.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't try and make them look like real humans, which I kind of thought that they would do, and I think that would just look stupid.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because in the I hate to keep saying in the book, but when they're actually going to school, we go to school on this planet called Ludus, but there's this zone, and when they're on the planet, they're not allowed to actually have like their avatars. So you couldn't be the orc. You actually had to be like a regular human.
Okay.
That's what I thought, because I remember when I read the first couple chapters, when he's sitting in school, and then he goes down to like H's like hangout place. I didn't get the impression that H was like a giant creature at that time.
Right.
That they're just hanging out at this party. This, they seem to jump right into like they're in a big battle. They skipped the whole school part.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought the school part was cool, where he talked about how you go to school and everyone likes to go as their avatar and all
Well, yeah,
that.
and the whole thing about like how you have the different zones where there's PvP zones and
Yeah.
magic zones and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was,
Yeah, I didn't read any of that.
yeah.
Did you read the book, bro?
No.
I read parts of it. So my thoughts, like I said, I like the idea behind it with the getting the keys and all that. I really enjoyed the race. But the race was really
Yeah,
cool.
that was
Yeah, that was
I like
cool.
how you had to figure out to go backwards and all that with the Kong. And I mean, so much eye candy stuff going on in there with the lore and
Right.
all
Yeah.
that. I thought the Shining second key was a little boring. That whole scene there, I was a little bored with the whole. It got a little boring for me in the middle. Like it lost my attention a little bit, and I'm like the dancing and the zombies and that. It was
So that whole spot, I mean, that was one of those. The dancing scene was, I mean, one that was just built for TV, but the whole premise behind it,
Yeah.
and that whole thing where Parzival and Artemis like sort of break up,
yeah.
that actually takes place over the course of what 5 or 6 months in the book.
Yeah,
Justin?
something like that. It's a long time period.
Yeah, that part was kind of dull, but and I actually got it where I was like, I'm not really liking where this is going, and then they brought it back with that big battle at the end that I really enjoyed, and I like the way they did that. I like the whole playing adventure and that whole stuff with that game.
It all comes back to an 8-bit video
yeah,
game.
an 8-bit video
Yeah.
game, and then making the decision at the
4-bit.
end where you don't sign. I thought that was cool.
Right.
So,
What was the game creator's name?
who created Adventure?
No, the guy who created the Oasis. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, James Halliday.
James Halliday, yeah.
Yeah.
He was my favorite character. The guy who played him, I can't think of his name
Mark
either.
Rylance.
No, it was
the
brilliant.
actor that played him, he's
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. That is exactly how I pictured Halliday.
Because he seemed like he
Complete
was like
Asperger's.
a little autistic or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
and he had problems with that. You know, he was good. And what was he at the end? Was he not dead? Was his
Or, like,
essence in the
was his
So
soul?
I think they were hinting that he had actually transferred his consciousness into it.
into
Yeah,
the
I
game?
think so.
Okay.
And then, like, whenever, like, he opens the door with his younger self, that's, like, him just, like, kind of leaving and, like, actually physically dying.
Right.
Something. in
What did
that
you think,
nature.
Justin?
in the book, yeah, in the book they make references to his avatar as the ghost in the machine.
Okay. Yeah, that was interesting. I loved all the DeLorean stuff too. Bring it
Yeah.
back.
His DeLorean is
Oh, that's
great.
like-
His DeLorean is great. All that stuff was cool. Yeah, I was mostly obsessed with the Easter egg stuff happening.
Oh, there's so much.
Oh, there was
so
a
much
lot.
of it going on.
We could probably each list 20 things and not even overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I even saw Joker and Harley in there.
They were
Yeah,
in
they
one
were.
scene.
Harley was in the club.
Yeah.
Joker was there too at the
Catwoman
end.
in the
Yeah.
battle scene. And
Batgirl was there.
Batgirl was there.
All
Ninja
the
Turtles
Overwatch
were there.
Tracer
characters.
from Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logan
Spartans
spotted
from
Battle
Halo.
Code.
I spotted.
Yeah, he spotted the
Yeah,
battle
I spotted the
toads.
battle
Yeah,
toads in
I
like
didn't see
3
the battle
different
toads at
areas.
all.
I was like, oh, there they
Yeah,
are.
they were all three together
Yeah,
too.
yeah. At the
And
end.
Goro from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was gonna say about the kids movie. When she does the chest buster thing with Goro, I was like, there was like blood and stuff there. I was like, that's kind of a little violent scene. But then she like,
I looked
actually
away because
her.
Alex was talking to me, but I missed the turtles.
yeah, because
The
like there's
four
a
kids
scene
were fighting
it's
and
showing like all the people in the real world fighting, and then it cuts to like these 4 kids, and then they're turtles in the actual.
I was disappointed
Oasis.
it was the Michael Bay Turtles.
It was the Michael
Yeah,
Bay
that's
turtles.
what I was like.
It
I
was
was
the
like,
Michael Bay Turtles. I was wondering how you're going to feel about that, Brock.
Yeah, I was disappointed.
You know what one of my favorite references was when he throws a grenade inside the Mechagodzilla and it was a Mad Ball
Yes.
Yeah.
from like
Yeah.
the 80s, those old Mad Ball toys. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's like a Mad Ball grenade.
That was one thing. A lot of the pop culture stuff. I mean, there was a lot of it that was in the book, but a lot of like the musical references and stuff like that were shifted more towards the '80s than like Overwatch would have never been in there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Right.
Halo would have never been in there. Those
Yeah.
sorts of things.
yeah.
Well, you're supposed to believe that this is people's
Yeah, that's the
stuffed
stuff people
avatars
created.
That's
from
true.
all these years.
Yeah,
It would
from
be all
every
that
side.
kind of stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Hey,
the
Lance, did you notice the Rush 2112 poster on Halliday's wall?
Yes.
did. So speaking, you two guys with the book stuff, what's the major difference from the
That's
book
what
to
I was
this
gonna
movie?
ask.
So, Justin, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So the whole scene where Artemis ends up at the loyalty center, in the book it was Wade, and he doesn't get captured. Well, he makes himself get captured so that he can infiltrate it, and he uses not passwords that he's found on Sereno's Hab unit, which was stupid, but he uses passwords that he bought off of an illegal auction site.
Okay, so that whole doing that the passwords were just sitting there, that was like kind of some goofiness.
Yeah. So in the book, he purchases like this root access into IOI's network,
Okay.
I like the password on a Post-it note better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which actually resonates more with because you look around and go, you do that, you do that.
Yeah, about 90% of my users at work do
Yeah.
It's
that.
like I know people who do that. Write their sticky notes.
Yeah, he was. Sereno was. I would call him a typical Spielberg villain, where there were parts where he was kind of menacing, but at his core, he was kind of a cowardly idiot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I didn't really care for him all that much. I
Me
don't,
either.
I don't know. I thought he was kind of
Like
boring.
in the Oasis, he was like this big evil guy, but then like in the one scene where like his agent who like kills people. In
Yeah,
real
I liked
life,
her, his
when she
assassin.
was like, you can't go out and like physically kill someone on your own.
Well, in the movie, she doesn't exist. So the whole idea is that those loyalty centers, what happens is they actually would just. The idea is that the people are so engrossed in the Oasis that they rack up these bills, much like you do now, paying
Yeah.
micro purchases and stuff like that. So you spent $150 on Call of Duty. You can't pay it. Instead of sending you collections, they actually conscript you into working for the company as an indentured servant.
yeah, because it
Well,
seemed
yeah,
like
that was the other big change too. Is for some reason they didn't want to talk about indentured servitude.
Right.
yeah, it seemed like slavery. Like they were,
was.
Yeah.
they were captured.
It is absolutely slavery.
I didn't know how that was like legal that they have you in these prisons.
So that's the whole idea is that the governments have like sort of crumbled and it's become this corporate run thing.
yeah.
So the corporations actually strong-armed Congress into actually making this act where they could actually indenture you until you paid the debt back.
Okay. Wow. You know what scene bothered me? It's just such a stupid thing, but like when he's about to like get the key and then the truck has to
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such like unnecessary drama that I know he's gonna get the key, but like, oh, the car, he can't get the key in the hole. I'm like, get past this already
He's
and
like
put the key in the
this,
damn
trying to
hole.
get
So,
yeah.
so if you want to talk about the things I didn't like or the differences, so in the book you had 3 keys and 3 gates. Okay,
Okay.
so it was actually sort of 6 trials you had to go through. And what is it? The first two were actually, or the first one was that you had the Dungeons and Dragons was the first key. Then to get to the second gate, you actually had to go through and do war games, right, Justin?
Yep. Yeah, that was the first gate.
So the race
first
wasn't
he had to play Dungeons of Daggerath to open up the portal. Then he had to go through the portal and do war games.
Right.
So it was the Shining part?
No, the Shining part was
so
not.
None of that was in the book.
No.
Wow.
No, but I think the cool thing that I liked was I never thought for a second they were going to be able to do anything like the flick syncs from the book, and they kind of did that with the Shining scene. So that actually made me really happy.
Because in the book, there's this thing called a flick sync, where you actually ended up being a play or a character. So you were a character in War Games. So he played what's the guy's name? Matthew Broderick's character, and you actually had to quote the dialogue right away.
Okay.
And you had like 3 chances, and then you'd like start to lose points, and if you lost, then the game was done.
Okay.
And then at the end, when they actually get the key, they actually find the key, but that cataclysm. So in the book Oasis, it's actually broken down into 27 sectors. So it's like Rubik's Cube of sectors. Think of a sector as almost a galaxy. Mm-hmm. And that cataclysm actually kills everyone in that sector.
Okay.
So the whole idea is that it actually, that castle actually blows away, and it leaves only this portal that he has to go through.
Okay.
And he's at the bottom of this huge pit, almost like the pit from the comic books pit.
Okay.
Remember how Pittsburgh goes away and there's this huge crater?
Yeah.
So he's at the bottom of this crater, and he's got to actually figure out how to get up there.
Okay.
Before the rest of the Sixers come back.
All right. So was the big final battle in the book?
So the final battle was in the book, but in the final battle, previously with one of the gates, they actually got to choose. One of the prizes was each person got to choose like a little toy robot, and one was Mechagodzilla, one was Transor Z, and then there was the Gundam.
Transor Z, wow.
Yeah, and then Transor. Yes, Opida Man, and then Transor Z, the female version of Transor Z, which Artemis picked. But what happened is the top 5 actually came in their robots. So H was in the Iron Giant. They were all in robots.
Okay.
Oh.
And then they all died. And where the Gundam shows up, and Daito was actually just sort of concentrating. So one of the artifacts he won in one of the quests, or actually he, Parzival, and Shoto won, was the pill from the Dynaman.
Okay.
And the whole idea, if you've ever seen Dynaman, is he takes this pill, he turns into Ultraman. Okay. And he has, 2 minutes to be Ultraman, and you're sort of all-powerful, you're the huge robot.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is that he could do that, and if he didn't actually, he can only do it once a week, or once a day. And if he actually went too long, he would actually die.
Okay.
And that's what actually happened to him. But in the movie, he actually just turns back to his regular self.
Yeah.
Also,
so it's a lot more convoluted.
Oh yeah, and actually, Shoto, the little kid, he gets killed,
like real life killed.
So yeah, what happened? So Sorrento actually finds Shoto, and actually throws him off. His goons throw him out of the balcony. They rip him out of the chair and throw him out of the balcony.
Okay, geez.
Well, and in the book, he's not 11 years old either.
No, he's just another shut-in.
Okay.
Because they're over, but Daito and Shoto are actually living in Japan.
Yeah.
Huh.
So the whole idea is he sacrifices himself to get revenge.
So there's no playing adventure to find a key or any of that in the book?
No,
that's at the
end?
No,
adventure is the last game.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds really different from what the book looks like then.
The plot line, I mean, the plot is a lot more intricate. There are a lot more nuances.
Yeah.
Like how he got the Ready Player One coin. There's this planet that is basically all made of pizza shops and arcades. And he finds this like one machine of Pac-Man, and he plays a perfect game of Pac-Man, and that's how he gets the quarter.
Not from a butler.
Not from the butler.
It turns out to be someone else.
Well, who's Og? And the relationship with Og.
That was cool. That was a nice surprise. I thought that was pretty cool at the end.
All right. So does it please you that it was different? And like, You enjoyed the race and all the other different aspects.
Seemed pretty excited that it was different.
You like all that better, Justin?
I won't say I liked it better, but I definitely appreciate it as like I said, they kept to the theme. I thought they did the book justice, but I'm thrilled with it. I really love this movie.
It's different enough that if you read the book translation of the screenplay, you would actually it's a totally different book.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we covered that one pretty good.
I think so.
Anybody have anything else that they want to talk about with this movie? You two?
I mean, there are a lot of themes you could talk about, but one of the themes that they actually translated well, I think, was the fact that, everyone thought everyone in the world had it was a sucky world in real life.
Yeah.
Because in the book, they're going through a downturn. There's all sorts of energy shortages and things like that.
Yeah.
And the whole reason for the stacks is because there was an energy shortage. People actually would drive to the cities, run out of space, and then the government found the only way to house them was to actually stack up mobile homes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But the whole idea was the how people became addicted to the Oasis.
Yeah.
And
so did they do the Tuesday and Thursday off in the book?
No. Well, actually, what happened in the end of the book is when Parzival actually meets Artemis, doesn't meet until like the last chapter of the book.
Yeah.
Last 2 chapters. But he actually, after he wins, he goes out. He meets Artemis for the first time, and they're talking and they're getting together. And the last part is like, I don't feel any need to go back to the Oasis.
Okay.
So he actually wanted real life.
Yeah, it just so happens that it turns out that she happens to be good looking in real life too, as opposed,
Yeah.
In the book, they're both. Well, he's fat for a while, and he gets himself in shape, and she is what they call Rubenesque.
What's that?
What's that mean?
She's
plump.
She's plump. Yes,
Okay.
pleasantly plump.
She just didn't have a thing on her eye or whatever. It was.
Well, no, she has the port wine
She has a
stain.
Yeah, the port wine stain was a big thing in the book.
The what's it called?
Port wine stain. It's actually the birthmark.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, because it's actually red like port wine.
Yeah.
That's why they call it.
Wow.
And I mean, one of the things she makes money at is making plus size avatar clothing
Interesting.
in the
Yeah.
Oasis.
RT Myth.
That's right, Artemis.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was all that.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we could do a whole podcast just on.
We could have Lance
some of
for
the
like
stuff.
a whole hour just talking about the book.
Maybe we can do a duo show, Lance.
Maybe we should do that.
Just you two, Justin on
Do
Skype,
it.
hold for like an hour.
A duo show.
Yeah.
Where you two just sit
Duo
there and
show.
talk for 3 hours about this movie.
We'll break it up with
All right,
sponsors.
I think are we ready for movie reviews? We went about a half hour here, so we're pretty good.
Cool.
I'm good.
All right, Logan, how our movie rating system goes. We score it 1 through 5. Justin gives cheese wheels. Brock gives nondescript baseball hats.
Okay.
Lance gives,
Ebony bald heads.
and I give white bald heads.
Okay.
You need to pick something. So you could give it. You got to pick something that's your sign, and you give it 1 through 5. Ken is bandanas. We've had Batman symbols, Stormtrooper helmets.
Yep.
We've had Green Goblin T-shirts. So you need to pick something.
It's like 1 out of 5.
So you can use something. You want to use something Dragon Ball Z? You can
Radio
use.
silent.
Dirty Dragon Ball Z
You
shirts.
can give it 5 Dragon Balls. You want to use Dragon Balls?
Yeah, sure. I'll use Dragon
All
Balls.
right. So we're gonna start around here. We'll start with the cheese. Movie ratings. I think he's frozen.
You need to get a shot of that. That should be the
Hold on, we got to pause while you unfreeze it. Okay, so we're ready for movie ratings. Justin, go ahead.
Logan didn't give us Dragon Ball.
4.75.
4.75 cheese
Jeez.
wheels.
Whoa.
Jeez. All
You
right.
can't do quarters.
All right. Now we're going to go to Brock.
I'll give it a 4. 4 nondescript baseball caps.
He's going to give it a 4. Now we're going to go to Logan.
I'll give it 4. 4 Dragon Balls.
Okay. Lance.
I'm gonna give it 4.5 ebony bald heads.
Ooh.
4.5.
Oh.
I'm going to go 3.75.
You're dead to me.
White bald Ivory bald heads, as they call them. And there you go. So go check out Ready Player One. Let us know what you think about it.
Leave a comment.
Leave comments, and there you go. Brock,
Like, subscribe.
take us out.
Logan just
shut the
did.
hell up. Brock's going to take us out.
All right, if you liked what you heard, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that button, and check us out on SoundCloud. Good night.